We propose asking the US for an investment package of $1.8 trillion.
I just really get the feeling that he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
It is a criminal offense to unnaturally terminate the life of an unborn human child.
Oh.
Did you know that the states with higher legal gun ownership actually have some of the lowest crime rates in America?
Don't care because it's still up against the comparison of the rest of America. The entire point of this whole video. We want rules and people can make their own choices and no abortion and no trans kids. So we need to hitch our wagon to that wagon down there because they seem to be wiping everybody of their rights and I want that too. Get bent. This video contains subject matter which may be inappropriate for some viewers. His bodysuit is going to be torn in half by the time this is over.
Nurse!
Hello, you stunning woman on the go. Welcome back to my channel. My name is David They and you are watching Dismantling Hate. This series where I find some garbage online and we react to it with sharp analysis, unapologetic resistance, and just enough comedy to keep us from losing our minds. But unfortunately, the privilege of keeping your mind is not something that is granted to everyone these days because today we are going to look at the Alberta 51 project on YouTube. Yeah, so if you don't know, I mean, you know, but I feel like I should say it.
No one says that.
In my province of Alberta, which historically and recently votes quite conservative, and if you don't know what conservative means, we could compare it to a Republican in the United States. And there apparently is a group of people thinking that Alberta should become the 51st state of America.
I don't think.
We're just gonna dig our little fingers right in and see what's up. So the description of this channel reads, there are 4 divine institutions for mankind instituted by the Creator in nature. Number 1 is volition, the act of willing, the act of determining choice, or forming a purpose. I'm pretty sure that making your own choices is something that they're not gonna agree with all the time.
I don't know what the fuck she's saying.
Number 2 is marriage. Number 3 is family. Number 4 is nation's volition, is the means by which a man self-determines its giving sovereign citizen.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
This is what the founding fathers had in mind when they stated they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable. Echo, what does unalienable mean?
The adjective unalienable is usually defined as not transferable to another or not capable of being taken away or denied.
Okay, you learn something new every day. Illiterate! Rights with a capital R, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These institutions are clearly seen in nature and as such do not require the adherence to a faith to agree with these principles, lowercase b, but rather a belief in natural law which declares these institutions despite our human viewpoints. I don't think that was supposed to mean anything, and thank God for that because it doesn't. So the video that we're going to be watching, the one that is called Breaking Down Alberta 51 Project Policies. This guy is gunning to be a politician? Is that what this is giving? We're gonna get into this and so much more. I'm already cringing. We're gonna roll the intro and get started. Dismantling Hate starts now. This guy is either so smoothed out or this is AI. Guess there's only one way to find out. All right, hold on to your hat, kids. Here we go.
Hello, my fellow Albertans.
Hey.
Today we're talking policy within Alberta 51 project and breaking down each section for you so you can understand just exactly how great Alberta can be as the 51st state of the United States of America. Let's begin. So let's start off with why the US over Canada. So we desire constitutional protections from monarchical dictatorship, which cannot be achieved within the Commonwealth system. Any protection by the
You don't want a dictatorship. I mean, okay, so this was published a year ago before what happened in the US is happening now. Yeah, because I guess Canada is under the monarchy. There is that difference there.
rights is subject to the notwithstanding clause, effectively canceling out any rights at the whim of the elites.
I really feel like the notwithstanding clause also is in the United States of America. Am I wrong on that? I feel like I've heard that, but I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments, girl.
We saw this in the trucker convoy in 2020 and even in present day. A state constitution
No, sorry, I have to go back for the trucker convoy specifically. There was a lot of nonsense going around in Alberta at that time. And I remember a student saying to me when I asked the question, so, like, did you have a good weekend? What'd you do? She responded to me and she was like, yeah, I went to the trucker rally. It was great. Me and my mom took a ditch nap. A ditch nap. Like, they took a nap in a ditch.
You gotta stand up for yourself.
Nice.
inherently Albertan. This would capture the freedom of will that we have. The free cowboy, the rancher, indigenous, patchworker, the farmer. The spirit that is in and embraced by all Albertans. These rights and freedoms would be protected under states' rights as per the U.S. Constitution. The American model has several political advantages. For example, equal representation in an elected Senate, separate branches of government, separation of church and state, and a system based on the ideal that all humans are equal.
Do we not have that in Canada? If anything, I would argue that Canada is better for those things. We have separation of church and state here, do we not? I don't know. He's making me rethink everything I've ever thought about anything.
Without conferring any special rights for religious, ethnic, or any other groups. The U.S. Constitution was conceived by the people and for...
By old white men, okay?
Know what I have? It.
There's always been a big debate between choosing statehood or independence. Well, here we're going to answer for you why statehood rather than independence. For starters, statehood allows for unrestricted free trade with 50 states. For example, currently oil is sold to the U.S. for 10% less. Statehood would mean selling...
This has all changed in the most recent of times. Anyway.
For the full value of the U.S. dollar. If the United States agreed to the independence of one province, then the United States would have to agree to the independence of all provinces. And if the United States agrees to recognize the independence of all provinces, then naturally, all of the provinces would be able to acquire arms and defend their respective borders. This would render North America defenseless. Also, there would be risk of balkanization and the potential subversion of any part of Canada.
I just really get the feeling that he doesn't even know what he's talking about. I really feel that.
Confederation, by the will of the people and applying for admission to the Union as a self-governing constitutional state.
This was all written in AI, and he doesn't know what he's saying. I'm pretty convinced.
Is absolutely clear. In fact, it is a plan that has been worked and has worked 50 times without fail over 3 different centuries.
Wait, am I so stupid? I just clocked in that he's in front of an American flag. Is he AI? Is this a real person? Let me know in the comments. I hope not, but I think he's real.
True independence will be obtained when Alberta becomes a state and a sister partner in the American Union. So the question of the benefit of being a constitutional republic over a constitutional monarchy is at the heart of the matter with regards to joining the U.S.
Okay.
The term republic comes from the Latin phrase res publica, meaning public thing. In a constitutional republic, the supreme power is held by we, the people, and is administered by their elected representatives under the Constitution drafted and ratified by the people of the state. In a republic, the people are sovereign. In Alberta today,
it's giving sovereign citizen.
There are many signs which indicate that the monarchical control wielded by the federal government has reached unhealthy levels. And that
you think there's less control in the U.S.? This makes no sense.
Control is hindering the people of Alberta and stifling them from reaching their greatest potential as a province. We propose restoring the power to the people once and for all by democratically joining the United States of America as a republic and as a sovereign state that is fully protected by the U.S. Constitution and by the American military until the inherent...
That's the only thing I can, see, because the U.S. military is obviously a lot bigger and stronger and more robust than Canada's, so, okay.
power of sovereignty is restored to the people of Alberta. It is certain that the kind of suffering that has been endured for generations will only continue until the cycle is one day broken.
The cycle is capitalism, so going to the U.S. is not going to fix that. It's going to make it worse.
First, we've got to give some benefit here to our native folks who have been on the land much longer than us.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and say indigenous, but whatever.
And here's how you would actually benefit from Alberta becoming the 51st state. Let's break down how a few things work. In Canada, hereditary chiefs and the introduction of the Indian Act in 1876 introduced the elected chief and council system, which forced communities to elect their leaders and hold elections every 2 years.
Okay.
Know also that they are elected by their people, but are accountable to the federal government.
Okay.
As you can imagine, this new form of leadership caused friction.
And speaking on things that I don't know, but I assume that Indigenous communities, the Blackfoot people where I am from geographically, would have a different democratic system and it wouldn't be organized in that way. But is the US not organized in the same way? I don't see the difference.
Tribes have the inherent right to operate under their own governmental systems. Many have adopted constitutions, while others operate under articles of association or other bodies of law, and some still have the traditional systems of government.
You know, that would be cool. Okay, I'm on board on that one, but we should give Indigenous communities and leaders autonomy, whether you're part of Canada or the US. So it doesn't help his point, but it is a good point.
Chief executive of a tribe is generally called tribal chairperson, principal chief, governor, or president. A tribal council or legislature often performs the legislative function for a tribe, although some tribes require a referendum of the membership to enact laws. Additionally, a significant number of tribes have created tribal court systems. All Indigenous lands operate as a free state or nation within a nation. We, the people. Here in Alberta, we believe in protecting our children. Citizens of the state of Alberta who are parents or official guardians of children under the age of 18 will be the sole decision makers for their children's
That's not protecting children. That's not what protecting children means. Oh my God. Also, the violence that happens in schools in the US, you think that's protecting just your...
education, religion, association, social, and sporting.
Also, like the quality and the rigorousness of specifically the Alberta curriculum compared to like our neighbors down south. There are higher standards in Canadian public schools than there are in American public schools. And it makes sense that he wouldn't know that. Yikes.
Activities and sexual identity. Boards will be elected. These rights presuppose the ultimate welfare of children in all circumstances. Some of the criminal offenses are as follows. It is a criminal offense to unnaturally terminate the life of an unborn human child.
Oh.
The life of a human child, whether born or unborn.
Okay, anti-choice. Okay. Yeah.
We will protect young children from any and all sexual and or gender theories, persuasions, or indoctrination until the age of state-recognized individual consent. We propose that to not be less than the age of 18. It is a criminal offense to change, alter, or mutilate with the use of drugs, surgery, or any other method or procedure the natural gender or DNA of any child under the age of
Okay, well, I mean, it's still not great, but I thought he was going to say anybody ever. Yeah, the studies are very clear on gender-affirming care and how that improves mental health outcomes and decreases the levels of suicidality amongst minors. And it doesn't even have to be like irreversible surgical things. It can just be social transition. It's just community and being seen for who you feel you are around the people that you care about the most. It's really meaningful to people. And if you take that away, that's not protecting children. That's protecting your fragile ego that doesn't actually know what they're talking about. Whatever his name is, I don't know his name, but it doesn't matter.
Recognized individual consent. It is a criminal offense to traffic any child of the world for any purpose whatsoever under the age of state-recognized individual consent.
What do you mean traffic a child? What does that even mean? They can be old enough and then you can traffic them? Does traffic just mean move them? What does that mean?
Any offense will be subject to maximum penalties by law, up to and including life imprisonment without parole.
So, okay, literally the entire point of this whole video is like, we want rules and people can make their own choices and no abortion and no trans kids. So we need to hitch our wagon to that wagon down there because they seem to be wiping everybody of their rights and I want that too. Get bent.
All offenders will be placed on a public watch list for life. Any sexual crime against a child, which includes the murder of a child, is subject
Murder is sexual or separate? Did he just say that's together? I don't think it has to be together. Could be together. What?
Capital punishment or life imprisonment without parole. Any sexual interference, whether directly or aiding and abetting by anyone at or above the age of state-recognized individual consent.
You see how he's slipping in there, like, recognized individual consent? Because, like, we look at some states like Utah where the age of consent is, like, lower than a lot of other states because there's child marriages there. Yeah, it's not a standard number. Kids can't be trans under 18, like he proposed before. But then it's up to everybody to elect people to decide on state-recognized date of maturity or whatever. Independence was the word he was saying before. That's a slip right there. Gross.
Which involves any minor person, regardless of the offense or the damage incurred by the victim, is subject to a minimum of 10 years to life imprisonment without parole. So what are we asking from the U.S. as an investment package as part of statehood? In the process of petitioning the U.S. government for statehood, we propose asking for an investment package that would cover the cost of any money that Canada says is due. Also, this investment package would allow for the creation of vital infrastructure that will be needed once Alberta's economy begins to boom as a free trade American state. We propose asking the U.S. for an investment package of $1.8 trillion.
Yeah, pay me in money. This is so stupid. This is giving middle school project. You don't know what you're saying, but it's time to present it. I'm just going to read this script shaking in front of a class of watchful eyes. This is comical. This is embarrassing. This is infantile.
Set the cost of joining and to create the infrastructure that will be needed to fully function as a state. This money would go to pay off any debt that Canada says we owe. The rest would go into Alberta as said investment package. Becoming the 51st state would indefinitely put an end to Canadian equalization. Currently, the federal equalization transfers from Alberta to Canada are at $688 billion. And the amount continues to climb. Recently, Alberta carried out a referendum on equalization, and over 60% of the people who responded indicated that it needed to be changed or abolished. The federal equalization transfer of over 2/3 of $1 trillion from Alberta to the other provinces represents...
Because Alberta does have, I believe, the most amount of money when compared to all the other provinces. So, okay, I see.
The single biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the entire Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
By becoming a state, Canadian equalization will permanently end, while Alberta adopts a constitution and goes under the protection of the U.S. military. Alberta will once again have election integrity. Under new jurisdiction, we propose paper ballots, legal state IDs.
Oh my God, back to paper, back to the basics when I was a kid at all. No.
Annually, as well as a minimum residency period before being eligible to vote.
Oh yeah, because immigrants.
We will prohibit the use of any digital machines to count votes.
Yeah, because technology is bad and scary. Ooh.
Will be hand counted and viewed publicly. We will pass laws preventing foreign entities from interfering in elections, as well as the creation of laws.
Is that not already a thing? I'm crashing out so hard. There's 1.5 minutes left.
Any interference in our elections will be punishable by a minimum of 10 years in prison, possibly more, depending on the severity of the act.
Depending on how we feel.
I know many of us are tired of that 5% tax here in Alberta.
we have the lowest GST, I believe, in all of Canada, and we don't even have PST either. So like GST is general sales tax, and that's like a federal thing, but most provinces have PST, which is a provincial sales tax on top of it. So you go into some provinces and they pay like a 12 to 14% tax on everyday purchases. We here in Alberta only pay 5%. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm just one person. It doesn't matter what I think, but like generally we do.
Consider that the state does not own us and has no such right to burden the people with income tax. This is
that's not income tax, but what? Okay.
What the King of England did to the colonies.
You know, yeah, fuck the King of England. We can get on board with that.
We as freemen are not slaves to the state, nor property to be fleeced. So it's clear that education in Alberta and in the rest of Canada has taken a strong downhill.
And you think the U.S. is... Shut up, David.
As a state, education would be strictly controlled by we the people.
Yeah.
There would be publicly elected boards, classroom size limits of 21 students, and the curriculum would have no politically motivated content.
And what do you think politically motivated is? Letting people have bodily autonomy? That's politically motivated? Oh, what an idiot.
Race theory, Marxism, or the LGBTQ and pedophilic propaganda.
That is not the...
All fun...
That is not the same thing. We've talked about that so many times. This guy is a dumpster fire.
For school choice is equal, whether you choose to have your children in public education, private education, or homeschooling. Our curriculum would be focused on 3 crucial basics.
Oh, God.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Back to the basics, baby.
You gotta turn it and burn it, baby.
All other vocational or creative courses would be optional. Students learn in different ways, and we recognize that instead of putting them all in a societal box to be judged by. Now,
This is so middle school. This is so middle school.
I have to talk about the right to bear arms.
Oh, yeah. Give us guns. That's...
Constitutionally protected right under the Second Amendment within the Bill of Rights. In Alberta, we will allow both open and concealed carry. Hey, listen, did you know that the states with higher legal gun ownership actually have some of the lowest crime rates in America?
Don't care because it's still up against the comparison of the rest of America. This is the stupidest man. I drank Red Bull earlier. That's why I'm very heightened right now. There's like 30 seconds left.
Now you do. Of course, free speech is very independent to us here at
Of course
Alberta
it
51
is.
Project.
Of course it is.
And
Of course
under
it is.
51st state.
Yes, spit it out.
And statehood. It will be unlawful for any agency, whether state, federal, municipal, or independent, or foreign, to restrict the viewpoint of any free person.
Yeah,
If
you
you've
don't
made
get the restrict...
at this point in the video and have not yet subscribed, please make sure you do so. Hit the little subscribe button.
Yeah,
down
and he
below.
got 99 subscribers from that. That brings us to the end of this episode of Dismantling Hate. I hope you enjoyed it. I felt very chaotic. I crashed out there for a while, but thanks for getting to the end. I appreciate you being here. If you liked me, my nonsense, my gorgeous beef jerky face, subscribe to this channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you like the video, and for the love of God... I started that sentence as if I had something to say, but I really don't. I'm so full of energy. I just want to run around the room like a dog in circles. Maybe I will go do that. Anyway, thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next one. And until then, goodbye. Oh my god, there's 4 comments. Number 1, it needs to be done, otherwise we have no future. What are you people waiting for? Just do it already. It's only a matter of time. I agree with your words. Area 51, sorry, Alberta 51 will happen. God, people are stupid.